to get an opportunity to make this video today. I've been wanting to make it for a long time because as a Buddhist-based teacher, I get a lot of questions about leading ayahuasca retreats in South America. And I just wanted to give a little background and a little context of why I'm leading these kind of retreats, why I think they're important, and also how I deal with some of the controversy that comes my way. You know, I am somebody who is very devoted to Buddha Dharma. I started practicing when I was 23 years old. It was over 20 years ago. And I met my first teacher then, Jack Cornfield, and I was on a 10-day Vipassana retreat. And I just remember it was so life-changing for me. Hearing the Dharma, practicing the Dharma. And at the end of that 10-day retreat, I remember we were in the desert in Southern California. I remember I walked up to this little hill way out in the desert and I ordained myself right there. And I said, I'll follow these teachings until the end, you know, until awakening, the end of suffering. And year by year, you know, my faith and devotion grew. I practiced for many years. I went on 3-month retreats at Insight Meditation Society in Massachusetts. I studied, I practiced. I went through a series of training programs at Spirit Rock, a community Dharma leader training program. And then I went into a 6-year teacher training program to be a residential retreat teacher. And it was during that time when I first got into the residential retreat teaching program that we opened a center in downtown Oakland called East Bay Meditation Center. And it was during that time, and this was about 14 years ago, that I started to have all this unresolved trauma come up. And no matter what I did, it was so painful. I was on a retreat doing jhana practice, concentration practice, actually metta jhana practice with some, you know, Joseph Goldstein and Guy Armstrong helping me. And I completely fell apart on that retreat. And we didn't really understand about trauma like we understand it now. You know, we were, even most meditation teachers, when you were having a meltdown, they would say, just go practice, go be with it. But I was like, no, there's no being with this. And I remember I had to leave the retreat early because sitting in the silence is just bringing on this depth of pain and disassociation. And that's what was really happening to me. I didn't realize it at the time, is that I'd completely disassociated from my body. That can happen when you're doing very intense retreat, like I was doing. It's not uncommon at all. So it was during that time that I came back to California that a psychologist friend of mine told me about this plant called ayahuasca. And I remember I was so desperate, you know, I was in a terrible state and I couldn't meditate, I couldn't practice, I was losing all this weight, I couldn't eat. I would wake up in these kind of panics every night. I was like, what is wrong with me? And so my friend said, it sounds like you have some really deep trauma coming up. Why don't you come and work with this plant? And I thought, okay, I was willing to do anything at that time. Okay, swim with dolphins, chant, pray. If you would have told me to do something, I would have tried it because I was that desperate. I couldn't figure out what was happening. So I went up to the mountains in Santa Cruz and I did a ceremony with a very small group of people and my dear friend who was there watching over me. And I had one of the most profound nights of my life. I had learned more about myself in that 8 hours than I had in years. It was pure insight, self-knowledge. And I just couldn't believe it. And from that point on, I started working with ayahuasca, started working with plants in a whole new way. Within a few months, I went to Peru. I felt very called to go there and study the lineage, especially working with the Shipibo indigenous community who are the medicine carriers. These are the people who have, cooked the medicine, make the medicine, sing, heal, the maestros and maestras, right? So I remember I went down and did retreats in the jungle with Shipibos, and all of my trauma that I hadn't been able to work out on the cushion was really starting to heal. And what made my retreats in the jungle so powerful was that I had all this Buddhist wisdom to rely on. I could sit in the depths of whatever arose with love, with compassion, with awareness. Sometimes I would be in these ceremonies, I would be wild for everybody else, but I could just find this place that would be solid, right? One moment after another, I would just meet it. And I started really practicing in that way, merging both of these traditions. I would go on retreat, and then I would fly to South America and go on retreat, right? And I began to merge these more and more. And then in 2014, I decided to move to the jungle for a year. I'd gotten out of my teacher training program. Our meditation center in Oakland was flourishing. Personally, for me, I'd healed so much trauma, and it was really accelerated. So I thought I'll just live in Peru in the jungle and be like an apprentice, like study with the great wise Shipibo maestra healers. And I did that for a whole year. I lived in a hut, and all the time I'm meditating and practicing and working with the plants. All the time, my Buddhist practice is getting stronger and stronger. And then when I came back, it was such a life transforming journey. I'd seen so many people healing miracles, healing cancers and autoimmune disorders, and healing themselves from chronic debilitating depression. I had seen it all, and I thought, I am going to start an organization that is for Buddhist people interested in Dharma, practitioners, of Dharma, and also introduce them to working with plant medicine, particularly ayahuasca. And out of that, Lotus Journeys was born, right? And every year we've grown and grown. And what I think is these two great traditions need each other. There's a way in the Buddhist tradition we can get stuck and we stop growing. The heart stops growing. The heart stops opening. We plateau, right? And in the shamanic world, we need the Dharma. We need a map, right? You have these power tools, but not necessarily the map of where is this going? Ethics, love, practices that one does outside of ceremony and even in ceremony. So for me, these two traditions need each other. And when they meet in the middle, there's this profound acceleration that could happen, right? We accelerate the wisdom, faculty of consciousness. We accelerate the growth of the heart. We accelerate our understanding of interconnectedness. And, and I get asked a lot about this from, I'm on the Teachers Council at Spirit Rock Meditation Center. And, I've been in the hot seat a lot, asked a lot of questions. And, I tell people that if it wasn't that we were at this stage of our humanity on this planet being jeopardized, of our species, I wouldn't probably be offering ayahuasca and Buddhist retreats. But we are kind of at the tipping point, both as a society, our planet, and we need to wake up faster. We need to move faster. And I think the plants, for those who are ready, working with these doctor spirits, these plant spirits that are so alive, with the wisdom of the Buddhist practices, for those who are ready, they can really move quite quickly. Move quickly through our greed, our hatred, our delusion. And there's a great possibility there. So I have been discovering this, and I've been working with communities for the last few years. Our retreats are growing and growing. People are interested in this. And I'm just happy that I can be at the forefront of this movement, because I see so much beauty and so much good that comes out of this. It's not right for everybody. It's not right for people who are afraid and working with addiction. It's not right. I honor people who are in recovery, that it may not be the right thing for them. But just to know that plants have been used to treat addiction very, very successfully. And there's treatment centers all over the world for addiction using plant-based medicine. But what we're offering and what I'm offering is just a new way, you know, accelerate our practice, wake up quicker, be in an environment where we're understanding ourselves in a new way, move through our blockages, feel the heart, build a new community. So these are the things that I'm focused on. So I'm bringing these together, and I just wanted to share that more for all my Buddhist community around the world. You know, explore it, be open-minded. Ayahuasca and the plants are healers. These are doctors. These are not drugs. These are sacred plant medicines, soul doctors, and we all could use a lot of that right now. So thank you everybody for watching this video. I hope you liked it, and you can share it and however many times that you want to watch it, or offer it to people in your spiritual community or not. But it's important to just understand a little bit about this new framework, and definitely understand how the Buddhist practice and the shamanic practices can come together in a whole new way. So thank you very much, everybody. Namaste.